release from work. Excuse me.
He's picked her up before.
Last Wednesday.
And Friday.
Doesn't she live down Westmoreland Road?
Ah, Roland Beecroft's wife.
Oh, I knew his mother. Funny woman.
Stanley, are you trying to put my right knee into top gear or simply groping for the overdrive?
Elsie, I haven't started to get you into overdrive yet. But I'm an ambitious man.
I could take you to a tribunal, you know, for sexual harassment.
There's no need to go that far, love. Behind the bike sheds will do.
Better than you were at school. There wasn't a gym slip your mucky hands hadn't been inside. Look, I'm warning you. And I'm not using that lift with you again either. It's like being shut in a box with a crazed ferret.
Elsie, I find it incumbent upon me to bring a little brightness to your monotonous day-to-day life.
You'll feel something else incumbent upon you very soon, my lad, like the back of my hand.
Oh, stop giving me so much encouragement. It's difficult for a man of passion like me to keep himself in check.
You're supposed to be the factory manager, Stanley. Now, why don't you go out there and manage the factory? We've got 3 girls coming in here to be interviewed today, and I don't want any of them put off by the sight of you.
If you keep lusting after me like this, your Roland is going to get suspicious.
Well, my Roland's had you weighed up ever since you pinched his conkers in 1953.
If you're not careful, I could transfer my affections to whatever creature of rare and radiant beauty is destined to grace this charming piece of early Chippendale.
Well, first one was due 5 minutes ago. Let's have a look. Sharon Wilkes. No O-levels, no A-levels, no experience. What the hell use is she?
Perhaps she's good to her mother. Perhaps she'll be good to me.
Queen, come here!
Come on, Sharon. And there's a quiz tomorrow.
And how are you going to pay me back tomorrow? McQueen! McQueen, drop it!
I'll borrow off me, Dad.
You don't stand much chance of that, Elvis. I've just lent him a £5. What do you need it for anyway? It don't cost £1 a day to go to school.
It does if you have to pass 2 Space Invaders.
Oh, I'm late for my interview. Here's 50p. And don't waste your time playing those stupid machines. You've only got another 2 years left to learn to read.
18 months. Packing it in early so I can go and dole.
People round here think Dole Office is our family firm, you know. Come on, McQueen, drop it. Drop it for Sharon. Oh, I've got an interview for a job, McQueen. Come on, drop it. There's a good boy. It's the whippet in him. Put anything down. He whips it.
We need somebody with a bit of maturity and experience.
Definitely experience.
Someone who'll work hard. Someone who's responsible and willing. Did you ever know a teenager who was willing?
Not often.
Now, there's a girl coming at 10, Maureen Hartley. She's ideal.
Isn't she your husband's cousin's wife?
Well, what's that got to do with it? The point is, Maureen's a good worker. She'll fit in well here.
What you mean is that you've decided on her. Does Jim Blake know?
Well, I can't tell Mr. Blake who to employ, can I? All I can do is give him the benefit of my experience and the understanding of human nature I've gained from my evening classes in psychology. Well, anyway, I've told Maureen she can start next Monday.
Oh, well, I better go and review my troops.
You know, I don't know why you don't put your desk in a corner of the factory. You've no need to be in here at all. Now, there's a very cosy little spot behind that big card-cutting machine over by the stockroom. Your factory staff, Stanley, not office staff.
I have a foot in both camps, Elsie. I must walk the fine line of diplomacy between workers and management.
Oh, I see. Walking a fine line with a foot in both camps. That could account for a lot. I always thought it was a hernia.
Right, that's it, McQueen. I'm not going to let you watch snooker tonight. You'll be sorry. It's Hurricane Higgins. Oh, look at it, McQueen. It's all chewed up and damp. Oh, it's like wearing a plate full of soggy dog biscuits. Oh, I'm 20 minutes late already. I need this job, you know. If I don't get it, you can forget your new flea collar.
There's no buns.
I beg your pardon, Ivy. Were you talking to me, or was it the distant rumble of a knackered milk float?
I said there's no buns. Him in packing room, boat 4. No wonder he's got spots.
Oh, 4 of your buns will give him more than spots. Probably cripple his colon.
So what do you want, then?
Well, what do I always want? A white coffee with no sugar. 8 years I've worked here, Ivy, ever since our Stephen was old enough to start school. And in 8 years, have you ever known me want anything from your trolley except a white coffee with no sugar?
You'll have to have this chip cup. I'm running out of cups. I got plenty of saucers. Nobody ever breaks saucers.
Oh, how many do you need? I'll get some out of petty cash one day this week.
Another dozen would be a good idea. That's 10p.
Oh, right. Well, there's £1 for the week. Oh, I do hope you've got a decent cup for Mr. Blake.
Oh, I keep a special one for him. Bone china. Oh, there's nothing like bone china. You don't see much of it now. Folks don't appreciate the finer things of life anymore. So mugs now. Pot mugs with daft slogans. It's like T-shirts. Them lads in the printing shop wouldn't be able to find their way to work without something stupid written across their chests. God knows what they've got printed on their underpants.
I must admit, Ivy, the literary possibilities hadn't crossed my mind.
It makes you think.
Oh, it does indeed. Actually, Mrs. Tibbet, I'm glad you're early. Somebody hasn't turned up, so you can go straight in. Go through the factory, turn right and take the second door on your right.
Right, thank you very much.
What's she like?
Well, let's put it this way. I think she'd very soon become a drain on the pension scheme. I said the second door on the right, Mrs. Tibbet. That's the first.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
Well, it's better than the one who turned up yesterday in a flak jacket. Listed her hobbies as demonstrating against violence and resisting arrest.
Oh.
Yeah? Hello? Oh. Hello?
Could you stand still a minute? Thank you.
I'm Sharon Wilkes. Oh, I'm sorry I'm late.
Well, you're half an hour late. The next one's already in there being interviewed.
It was McQueen. He took me shoe.
McQueen?
Our dog. He's a cross between an Irish setter, an Old English sheepdog, a Jack Russell, a spaniel and a whippet.
Good grief. They could cancel Crofts and just show him.
He took me shoe. That's the spaniel in him, 'cause the gun dogs. But he's bad enough unarmed. Anyway, he went miles before I caught him and got it back. And then I got on a bus and it didn't stop here.
Well, you live on the council estate behind Butler Street, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, that's 500 yards from here.
They're convenient for here.
So long as you don't take the scenic route. Couldn't you just have put on another pair?
I don't have another pair. Well, not if you don't count my canvas wedge heels. And Armandy's gerbils had its babies in one of those.
How the other half lives.
The other half of what?
Oh, do you come from a big family?
No, there's just me and our Elvis. He's 14. Armandy, she's 11. McQueen, he's 2. Little and Large, they're the gerbils. Except Large isn't, now he's had his babies. There's 3 of them. Oh, and we've got a tortoise called Winston. At least we think we have. We haven't seen him since he disappeared into long grass last Wednesday.
Is that all?
Well, we used to have a budgie, but we give it to my gran because my dad said it made too much noise.
What did it do? Play the drums?
Elsie, your expression is about as joyful as a wet night on the M62.
I'm appalled, Stanley. Appalled. The calibre of applicant for this job is beyond belief.
I thought your Maureen was the answer to a businessman's prayer.
She's not my Maureen, but she is the answer to Jim Blake's prayers, and I'm going to make sure he knows it.
I have a feeling this isn't going to be a fair contest.
Well, there isn't going to be a contest at all. I mean, the one who's in there now looks like Crippin's mother and hasn't worked for 20 years. And the kid who's just arrived is about as much use as a hang glider in a pothole. And yesterday's lot was even worse. Really.
What do you think?
What? Oh, very nice. Next year's?
No, Elsie, no. We've decided to go for the novelty market.
Oh.
We're the only company at present printing last year's calendars.
Oh, all right. All right. I've got a lot on my mind, Stanley.
Well,
Great.
so,
5.
by
Wednesday.
rubbish.
Are you two having a conversation? Or playing verbal Scrabble?
Print 5,000 of those by Wednesday. You are joking, Stanley.
5,000 of these calendars have got to be trimmed, wired, packed and on a train to the Scottish distributors by next Monday.
No chance.
We've got a contract. Jim Blake has invested thousands on that new machine last year and you're only running it at half its potential.
How else can I keep up the overtime?
Tommy Wallace, the man who did for British industry what Psycho did for showers.
I'll put it into discussion.
Go ahead, Tommy, but remember, while you're discussing, the presses are rolling in Taiwan.
But they can't spell January.
Can you?
I've got a dictionary.
Work is the only 4-letter word Tommy Wallace never uses.
I grant you as a worker he's an abject failure, but as a subversive he's brilliant.
Hello, Sharon. What are you doing here?
Hello, Uncle Tommy. I've come for a job.
Secretary to Blake?
Yeah.
How about that? Our little Sharon starting work, eh? That's great, that is.
I don't think I stand much chance, though. I was late getting here, due to circumstances beyond my control.
What circumstances?
McQueen.
Oh, that dog's beyond anyone's control. Is your dad still on the dole?
Yeah, of course he is. They're never going to find him work, can they? Well, he's registered as a palm tree pruner.
This job is yours, Sharon. No problem.
I think they want somebody older. Or taller, perhaps.
You leave it to your Uncle Tommy.
Well, have you had full and frank discussion with your executive?
I have.
And?
5,000 by Wednesday it is.
What, you mean you'll do it?
Of course.
Well, just like that?
Just like that. Oh, there is one thing, Stanley.
For that to be?
That girl in there, our Sharon Wilkes, she gets the job.
Ah, come on, Tommy, that's not up to me.
If she doesn't, I've got a terrible feeling that machine of mine is going to go on the blink. Think it over, Stanley.
Is he making trouble?
Tommy Wallace? When does Tommy Wallace ever make trouble?
Every time he breathes, either in or out. I wonder where Maureen is.
Have to do a test.
Come and sit down, Mrs. Tibbet, at the desk.
Thank you very much.
Have you used an electric typewriter before?
No.
Well, the keyboard is the same as manual, but this button is your carriage return. This is your margin set. Now, will you use the tabs?
No, it's just a short letter.
Oh, well, if there's anything you want to know, just ask.
Thank you very much.
Season's greetings. Get well soon. We wish you health, we wish you wealth, we wish you all the best. We think you look real sexy in your knickers and your vest.
I thought I'd confiscated all of those. Excuse me, dear. A small batch of these somehow got itself printed after a leaving party for one of the female packers. Excuse me, dear. Now then, has anyone else been in while you've been here?
Me Uncle Tommy came in.
Who?
Me Uncle Tommy. He works here. Tommy Wallace.
Tommy Wallace? Good heavens. Never thought of him as having relatives. Like imagining Stalin having a mother.
He's not quite me uncle. He's my mother's cousin.
Oh, that makes him your second cousin. I hope you don't think that will sway Mr. Blake's decision.
Oh, no.
Because we don't go in for nepotism here.
No, I'm not very religious either. Do you think I stand much chance in getting this job, Mrs.
Beecroft, Mrs. Beecroft. Well, don't get your hopes up too high, dear. I mean, you're not very experienced, are you?
No, but I will be eventually, if I ever do anything.
OK, wheel her in.
All right, Sharon. Mr. Blake will see you now. Go through that door there, turn right and take the second door on your right.
Oh. Well... Thanks!
It's all right. Go on, I'll keep you.
I'm sorry.
What a sight. I don't think she was born. I think her mother knitted her out of scraps. What happened to Mrs. Tibbet?
Oh, she put that letter on your desk and left at a sharp trot.
Oh, what a mess. A one-armed chimpanzee could have made a better job of it.
True, but unfortunately, since Bellevue Zoo closed down, one-armed chimpanzees have been a rarity in Manchester.
Oh, Maureen won't have to do more than walk in that office to get this job.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too sure about that if I were you, Elsie. I mean, that kid in there looks quite promising.
Promising? She's about as promising as a surfboard in the Manchester Ship Canal.
An overwhelming feeling that she's going to get the job.
I don't trust you, Stanley Crabtree. You're looking furtive. Like a man wearing a toupee when the wind gets up. It's Tommy Wallace, isn't it? He's blackmailing you. Go on, admit it. He's blackmailing you.
In industry, Elsie, it is called negotiating.
Well, he's not going to get away with it.
I've got a letter to type. It's only 2 lines.
Over there.
You didn't ask me very much.
Oh, yes. Oh.
I don't think she likes me.
Elsie Beecroft is not easily impressed. When she met Maggie Thatcher, she'd ask for references.
I've tried to be nice. I mean, it wasn't my fault I was late. It's McQueen, he gets overexcited. My dad says if they're a lunatic asylum for dogs, he'd be in one. I've tried everything Barbara Woodhouse says. I always call him good boy and tickle him between his legs, but he just gets overexcited.
That's understandable.
Anyway, Mr. Blake's nice.
Hey, you can type.
Of course I can. I learned at school. I was best in our class. Teacher said I had fingers like greased lightning.
Oh, so they're the greasiest fingers I've seen for a long time.
That's off McQueen. My mum says he can get dirty just barking.
Well, Stanley, you're not going to get everything your own way. I've got 1 or 2 tricks up my sleeve, too.
Well, you better get them down before they bite your arm.
Blake and Son, can I help you? Maureen, now where are you? You should have been here 10 minutes ago. You what? Well, I didn't even know you had another interview. Oh, really? Well, I suppose if you find luncheon vouchers that important, there isn't much to say, is there? But I do think you could have phoned earlier. Yes, all right. Well, goodbye, Maureen. Bye.
Bit of bad news, was it?
Don't say one word to me, Stanley, not one word.
I finished the letter. Do you think I should type an envelope as well?
Don't bother, it's all academic.
What do you mean?
Well, you've got the job, haven't you?
Have I? Well, nobody's looked at this yet.
Give it here. Oh, well, I suppose it's all right.
She goes like a bomb on that machine. She's got fingers like greased lightning.
You mean they never touch the right key twice? There's a P in receipt.
A P?
Silent, as in swimming pool.
All right, Sally. Take this letter through to Mr. Blake. Tell him Mrs. Hartley won't be coming after all.
Yeah, all right.
Knock first.
Oh, yeah.
Need some licking into shape, that one.
Look on it as a crusade.
Well, I'm beginning to look upon you as a war of attrition.
The reality of the situation obviously hasn't hit you yet. I have won, Elsie. I have put one over on Tommy Wallace, and he doesn't even know.
Well, what do you mean you've won?
Well, with your Maureen out of the way, that kid would have got the job anyway, wouldn't she?
Well, yes, I suppose so.
Well, she's a nice enough kid.
I could do a lot worse.
So he's going to have to be a good little boy, and we haven't conceded anything.
But when you put it that way, it does have a pleasant ring to it.
He says I've got the job. If that's all right with you, Mrs. Beecroft.
Oh, well, you're Hobson's choice, really, dear. When do you start?
I said I could start right away. I've nothing else to do.
Oh, I like an enthusiastic beginning.
Teacher at school says I grow on people.
So do warts and pimples. Out in the dark with a shove.
What do you think of our new calendars, Sharon? You'll be typing invoices for these soon.
They're a bit big.
They're uncut. Yes, you see, they have to go through a guillotine to be trimmed to individual pages, and then they're wired and hooked, and you tear off a page every month.
Like ordinary calendars.
They are ordinary calendars.
The pictures are nice. I like that cottage. I'd love to live in a cottage like that. All thatched and covered with roses.
Unfortunately, they don't make thatched council houses in Manchester.
I won't live in a council house all my life. I've got plans, you know. I've got ambitions.
Like what?
I don't know, just ambitions.
Yes, well, you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah, of course you have. Like being born, for instance, you've got to start there. And you've got no choice about that, have you? If I'd had a choice, I wouldn't have been born here at all. I'd have been born in Los Angeles, Dallas, Altrincham.
Altrincham?
Yeah, we went there once. It's dead classy. People there have dogs called pedigrees. All 4 legs are a matching set.
You don't...
Anyway, I'm to always lived here. I grew up in Oldham.
Oh, at finishing school there, were you?
No, it were comprehensive. We moved up there when I were 8 and we only came back last year.
Well, why did you come back?
My dad said he were fed up of living at North West Frontier. He were only fella in our street without a turban.
So you were repatriated to Manchester?
No, we just swapped houses and came back. I didn't have a choice in that either. I never have a choice in anything, me. I mean, I wouldn't have been related to our Elvis either, if I could have helped it.
Not very fortunate with your relatives, are you, Sharon? Not very fortunate at all.
How's it going, Sharon?
Great! I got the job.
Thought you might. Right, let's have those proofs back, Stanley. I haven't got time to hang about.
Listen to him, the man who's turned hanging about into an art form.
It is that kind of remark, Elsie, that leads to industrial unrest.
As opposed to the industrial rest you usually take at this time of the morning, when you put your feet up and play cards behind the paper bales.
Do you know, Stanley, I could swear that expensive and delicate machine of mine is hovering on the brink of collapse.
It's strange, Stanley, but I can feel a touch of flu creeping on. Now, wouldn't it be dreadful if it caught up with me on wages day?
Let's have the proof, Stanley. Let's get on with it.
Here they are. I think they're lovely, Uncle Tommy. It's a shame they're wrong.
Wrong?
Yeah, look at February. 1984 is a leap year.
What? Oh, it's fire.
Oh, now, don't you worry, Stanley. I will get 5,000 corrected for you by Wednesday. We will not let you down.
I don't believe this, Elsie. I could swear I just heard Tommy's voice being reasonable.
Never.
Of course. It will mean overtime.
One in the family was bad enough, now we got 2.
I think you should say thank you to Sharon Stanley. If she hadn't spotted it, 5,000 useless calendars would have been speeding up to Aberdeen next week.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Sharon. You're not as daft as you look. No, at least it's an improvement on last year's. They didn't have February at all.
Well, so here we are, then.
Yeah, we are.
Just have to get used to one another.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it?
Well, from your point of view, dear, yes.
Will this be my desk?
Yes.
And my typewriter?
Yes.
Who else uses it?
Nobody. I've just said it's yours.
Mine? But I've never had anything that were just mine before.
Well, you must have.
Can't think of how.
Well, what about your clothes?
And Elvis wears my bomber jacket and my jeans if I'm not careful.
Well, your makeup, then, or does he borrow that as well?
But my mum does.
Oh, and the gerbil uses your shoes.
Yeah, you can't leave anything like that.
Well, those drawers lock, and the key is yours.
Oh, I think I'm going to like it here.
Well, it's always been a pleasant place to work, Sharon. We try to foster an air of warmth and friendliness.
Oh, get out of the way, you dreadnought!
There's always a word of cheer from Ivy to lift our spirits and inspire our thoughts.
I've come for your cup. Oh, she the new one?
Yes, Ivy, this is Sharon, Mr. Blake's new secretary.
Mr. Blake's secretary. Mr. Blake's secretary.
Is she soft in the head or something?
No, Ivy, she's just excited at getting the job.
No accounting for some folks.
I expect Ivy's got some coffee left if you'd like a cup.
Great.
I don't usually serve when I'm collecting.
Oh, make an exception, Ivy. Live dangerously. New experiences enrich the mind.
It's 10p a cup.
Oh, never mind. I won't bother, thanks.
I don't like being messed about.
Sorry. Our Elvis had no dinner money.
I'm sure we can find a cup of coffee on the house for Mr. Blake's new secretary.
Well, suit yourself. I'll take it out of that pound you give me earlier. Oh! Get out of here, you great muffin!
That's a daft place to stand in, Ivy!
It's the daft place I allus stand in. Hey, when you're ordering them cups, you better make it 2 dozen. Nobody ever breaks saucers. I told you that before. Nobody ever breaks saucers.
There, Ivy. Does that make you feel better?
Why don't you break the old watch? I could take rest of the day off.
Mrs. Beecroft?
Yes, Sharon.
Is it always like this?
No, Sharon. Just most days.